Hey everybody, it's your old pal Mike. I hope you're happy, healthy, and safe. And you might have noticed that I am sitting on my floor, and that's because today's subject requires me to be on ground level to really make my point. Also, I wanted to do a very easy video this week. I don't know about you, but I needed a break from all of the editing and the Hollywood glitz and glamour and all of that. So this video is going to be a little bit low rent, but that's okay. It's just going to be a conversation between you and me. In today's video, we're going to discuss when a guitar case may in fact not be the safest place to keep your guitar when it's not in use. Now, as you can see, we have ourselves a big rectangular Gibson USA case, and that can only mean one of a very few select things. And indeed, friends, we have ourselves a Firebird on the floor. Firebirds are wonderful instruments. Just really interesting entries into the Gibson catalog. They have a brighter voice than a lot of the guitars, and that makes them super usable to me. I can't really say that I enjoy wearing them on a strap. The body dimensions coupled with the extreme width of my shoulders means that when I'm wearing one of these on a strap, the bridge is so far over toward my left hand that I feel like my right hand is constantly reaching over, kind of closing my shoulders like a book. I don't know, but I'm not here to complain about Firebirds. Not at all. Now, the reason this guitar is in my hands right now is because the owner of this guitar was complaining of extreme buzz in the 1st through 5th fret positions. And when I took it out of the case, I mean, yeah, sure enough, we've got ourselves, I don't know if that's coming off on the camera, but we've got ourselves a bit of a backward bow. And that's not good for playability. That's not good for, clean fretting. That's not good for anybody. So I took a look at the guitar and said, wow, that should only be a truss rod adjustment. This should be a relatively straightforward job. I'm looking forward to it. But when I finally dug into it, and you'll notice that the truss rod cover is off and in a bag over there, when I finally dug in, what I found was an entirely loose truss rod. This truss rod has no tension on it, fully strung up, and it plays great here. But here, this is the area where truss rods make the most difference, and I have to tell you, there's nothing going on here. This rod is loose. No adjustments that I make will dial out the backward bow, and the reason for that is right there. Whenever someone asks me, hey Mike, what should I do with my guitar when I'm not playing it? Well, my answer is almost always, keep it in its case. Not only is the case the best possible place to protect it from dings and scrapes and scratches and other kinds of damage, it also, to a degree, protects against environmental factors such as heat and humidity, both of which can wreak havoc on a guitar regardless of whether or not it's an electric or an acoustic. So more often than not, the case is the best place for your guitar to live when it's not in use. But there are some times when a case isn't quite the right fit and can cause problems of its own. When a case like this is in play, my answer changes. And the reason for that is you'll notice this impression in the case. Now, most cases will absolutely get an impression in the case lid from the strings and fretboard. That's natural. But check out how deep this is. I don't know if I can get a good shot, but that is extreme. You see, as I was working on this guitar initially, guitar teching is often like being a CSI detective where you are seeing the crime scene, but then you have to go back sometimes and figure out how the thing happened. And so I was thinking, oh, maybe this guitar hadn't seen tension for many years, but I talked to the owner and that was disproven. No, the guitar has always been strung up. And this is the kind of guitar that is kept in its case most of its life because it lives in the studio and it's there for tracking. It's not meant to be a road dog. It's not supposed to be seeing, dirty stages. This one, as the owner told me, was supposed to be the one that he kept in great condition in case he ever wanted to sell. But sadly, that happened. And what I mean by that is you will notice that some cases have a rather deep, what is this, a pocket? I used to work at a coffin factory. I know that there is a term for this. This case has a really deep recessed cutout for the body shape. And as a result, when you slide the guitar in to place, you'll see that the body is dipping down at an angle. And so this angle becomes problematic when you close the case lid. Not sure I'm going to be able to get that, but
You can just about tell the moment when the case lid makes contact with the nut here.
And this, friends, is why there is such an extreme backward bow in the root position of the neck. And that's what's so heartbreaking about this particular job, is that the owner basically did everything right. When the guitar wasn't being used, it went right back in the case. The intention was to keep it in really good shape and, you know, maybe down the line it would be an heirloom instrument. But unfortunately, the case was the culprit in this instance. And doubly unfortunate because I'm just not able to address this here. I'm working out of the apartment. It's a one-bedroom place that I live in, and as such, there just isn't space for me to take on these kinds of long-term projects. And also add to the fact that I'm just not equipped for this. Yeah, I've got clamps and I've got things I might be able to fashion into a straight edge to clamp the neck into a different position. Normally, a problem like this is best addressed with a combination of heat and steam and clamps, pressure on the neck to retrain it into the shape that it should be in this case, with a little bit more of forward bow. And this process can take a long time. Sometimes necks will bounce back within the space of 2 weeks, but I have seen necks take months to accept their new positioning. And that's just something that I'm not able to predict. And as such, that makes it a job that I'm just not really capable of doing the right way. Luckily, I know plenty of people who are incredibly skilled at this kind of work, and people that I would recommend heartily should the owner of this guitar want to have it addressed properly. So, you know, if there's people who are better at this than me, then why not just send it to them? And ever hopeful as I am, the one thing that I could do here was introduce a thicker set of strings in order to increase the string tension. But yeah, you can see that 10 to 46 was the gauge of choice on this one, so I've increased that to 11 to 48. This is not guaranteed to work, but sometimes I have found that a guitar with just a little bit of back bow, and this isn't extreme, will sometimes, with just a little bit more tension and a little patience, sometimes they will come back from it. And, you know, this guy loves his guitar, and yeah, that's literally the only thing I can do for it. So we're gonna see what happens over the next couple weeks and months. And, you know, I'm not certain that he's in a huge rush to introduce steam and heat to this guitar because it is so pristine. So we will have to see what happens. Now, the point of this video is not to instill fear in the hearts of guitar players the world over. We shouldn't rush to our closets and rip our guitars out of their cases for fear that they will be irreparably damaged. That's not at all my point. But it is important to note the relationship between the guitar that you have and its case, and make sure that fit is good. It should fit snugly, but not so snugly that your guitar runs the risk of being trained into a different position, or that cracks might form on the sides of an acoustic. So if the fit of your case is not ideal, or it is causing your body to sit so low that the neck is pitched up at an angle toward the case lid, well, there are some things you can do to alleviate that. Now, if we want to take a quick look under the guitar, there is a folded up Solo Dallas towel resting under the body, reducing that sort of recess that was in the case before. You can push the guitar down a little bit, give it a nice snug fit, and you can see that that reduces the angle of the neck to the pad here and the case lid. And when you close it, that actually closes really easily. But this will do in a pinch until you can find a more suitable case for your precious guitar. In any case, I hope this video has been informative for some of you, because there are a great many things that can cause problems for guitars, and it kind of sucks that the case can potentially be one of those things we need to pay attention to. So if you have a guitar that you love, do me a favor, grab it out of the closet, take a look at it, make sure it's sitting in its case the right way, because you don't want to have this horrible news given to you by a tech down the line. And sometimes the job is just giving bad news, and oh, I hate it. So take that precaution and save your old pal Mike a little grief down the road, if you please. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you're taking care of yourself and each other. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming back to the channel again and again and again and again and making me feel so welcome here on YouTube.com. And before I close out, a very special thank you for bearing with me this week, as there are probably sound issues and video issues with this one. I just needed a break. I needed an easy one. I'm sure you understand. But I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here, and we'll see you in the next one.